Well, hello everyone, it's Nina. Thanks so much for joining me today. Today is a very special day because I am celebrating the passing of 1,000 YouTube subscribers. I passed this milestone back in January, and this month I have some of my very special friends helping me celebrate with a festive blog hop. I've also got some sponsors, which you will be eligible to win prizes if you go and comment on my blog and all the other blogs included in the hop. You can get all the information on this over at my blog, and the link will be down in the video description below. So on to today's card. I'm going to be making a watercolor card that is very easy to make and also very easy to mail. Some cards can get kind of bulky when you add a lot of layers and dimension, but this card is relatively flat and features a lot of really great loose watercoloring techniques that I'm going to be sharing with you today. So let's get started. So here I've got my MISTI stamping tool. I'm going to be using this to do all of my stamping because I like being able to have the precision that the MISTI gives me. It's super handy and really helps make sure that you get a perfect placement on all of your stamping projects. To begin with, I'm stamping my sentiment onto this card panel that's made from watercolor paper. Originally, I planned to have a completely one-layer card for this design. Things kind of changed as I went along, so you'll end up seeing later on what I do to change up the card a little bit. But for now, let's continue as we're going. I've got my sentiment, which is from the Ton Stamps. This is part of their Thanks a Bunch stamp set, and I really love all of the scripty sentiments that are included in this stamp set. I've heat embossed this with some gold embossing powder, and I'll just use my heat gun to set that. Moving on to the next part of the stamping, I've got this stamp set from Simon Says Stamp. This is actually a Christmas stamp set. This is their For To Us stamp set. And I really love the little leaf and flower clusters that are included in this set. And I thought this would be perfect for a beautiful flower cluster that would be falling down from my card. So I'm going to stamp this with some Simon Says Stamp Intense Black ink. This ink is not only Copic friendly, which is it's originally intended for alcohol-based markers, such as Copics, but it's also waterproof. So I'm going to be able to watercolor with this, and this is really handy ink to have because it lets you be able to do all your techniques with one ink and not have to have so many different kinds. So to begin with, I'm going to do my watercoloring using my Tim Holtz Distress inks. I've got all the colors that I'm using listed on the side of the screen so you can replicate the color combinations if you like them. I'm going to be doing loose watercoloring for this, so I'm making sure not to blend things too much as I'm dropping in color. I'm just dropping it in, so that way there's some hard and soft edges throughout this whole painting. I'm also going to dry between each layer, and this helps make sure that the colors don't blend as much because there are spots that I don't want the colors to blend together as much as other spots. So drying in between helps alleviate that problem. This is some crushed olive, and I just love that gold and yellow green. It's absolutely beautiful. It's one of my favorite green colors. I'm also using a round brush for this. You can use any type of brush you want, but I do like the control that the round brush gives you, so that way you can create a variety of sizes of brush strokes with this round brush, and it's a fairly large size. I believe this one is an 8. And I'm just going to keep adding in layers of color. Here I've got some ripe persimmon. I'm just going to drop that in and flick it out from the center. I'm also going to add in a little bit of festive berries in the center of the flower just to kind of give some layer of color and really make that pop. The one thing I love about the loose watercoloring technique is that you can layer color on top of each other, and I love the effect of the hard and soft edges. They just really make the whole painting come to life and have a very artistic and whimsical feel, and I just love it. So now I'm going to add in some shadows on these leaves, and again I'm making sure that they're hard edges so that way it gives my painting some interest and some life, and I really love how this ends up looking. You can see I'll just bring in some other colors here. This is some mowed lawn. I'm going to darken it up with my crushed olive. I'm just going to quickly drop this on and flick it out and just really continue adding layers onto my watercoloring. You could of course stop without the layers, but I do like adding those in because it does provide interest. So here I'm mixing up some background. I'm testing it out into some scrap watercolor paper. I'm using a variety of cracked pistachio and tumbled glass, and I'm just going to be dropping this in around my little cluster of leaves and hearts. Now, as you'll see as I'm adding this in, I'm going to let it blend in with the color that I've already got down from the leaves and the flowers. So I'm going to first dry this before I go any farther because I do want to make sure that I maintain hard and soft edges. Now I'm going to start bringing in that color again, and this time I'm going to let it bleed with the color that's already there. And you can see as it does this, it pulls the color out from the areas that we've colored in already, and it just pulls that right down into the background color. It just absolutely turns this into a stunning work of art. I just love it. It's so much fun to really be able to mix things up and add in that hand-painted and loose watercolor feel. It's very artistic and very fun, and you don't have to feel like you need to be an artist to do this, because when you're bleeding color, that's kind of the opposite of what you want to do. But it really adds a nice texture to your painting and really adds some life and hand-painted look to it. So I wanted a little bit more blue, so I'm bringing in more of that tumbled glass. I'm just blending this around, kind of pulling in some wet water and just kind of pulling that out so it's not quite as harsh, but I'm still maintaining those hard and soft edges. Alright, so here's where I changed my mind. I'm bringing a Simon Says Stamp Stitch rectangle die into my Big Shot machine with the panel. I'm going to run this through so it creates a nice stitch edging. I've also got my mini Martha Stewart scoring board, and I'm going to go ahead and score an A2 sized card using an 11" by 4 1/4" inch piece of white cardstock. And then you can see that's where my panel is going to end up, right there in the middle. Before I go any farther, I want to add in some gold splatter, so I'm going to be using this Heidi Swap Gold Color Shine, and I just love this color. It's so beautiful. I'm going to shake that up and then flick this onto my project. I'm not worried about having big or small drops. I want them to be very organic, so wherever they fall, that's what I'm going to go with. You can see I ended up getting a couple of big drops right on the top there, but I actually really liked that because it really adds some organic feel and really provides a nice bit of texture to the card. Though I will say I did panic a little bit when that big drop ended up right next to the thank you, but it ended up working out okay, and I do love how it ended up looking very organic and freestyle. To finish off the card, I ended up putting the sentiment onto some vellum. I heat embossed it with that same gold embossing powder, and this just provided a little bit more separation from the sentiment to the flower cluster, and I really liked this better. So again, this is a celebration blog hop, and I have all of the links to my friends' blogs over at my blog, so head on over to the video description and click on the link to take you over to my blog. Be sure to leave them some love and some comments because they put a lot of time and effort into the cards that they've created. And also be sure to check out their blogs and YouTube pages, and be sure to follow them because they really are fantastic and amazing designers, and I love them all to death. So if you enjoyed this video, here's another one you might enjoy using some watercoloring techniques. Just click on the image in the video and it will take you over to that one. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And thanks so much for watching. We'll see you again soon.